Yes, and I think that was such an important story to be shared last night. In the process of trying to this 3 hours and 20 minutes.
She was raped at 9, pregnant at 14, and told she would never be enough. She became the first black female billionaire in history and still went to bed alone. This is the story the cameras never fully captured. Before we begin, kindly subscribe to this channel. We are pushing toward 10K subscribers, and your one click makes all the difference. Hit subscribe right now. Let's grow together. According to the provided script, Oprah Gail Winfrey was born on January 29, 1954, in the forgotten rural town of Kosciuszko, Mississippi, a place where poverty was not an exception, but the rule. Her arrival was not celebrated. It was barely acknowledged. Her mother, Vernita Lee, was just 18 years old, an unmarried teenage housemaid, overwhelmed by a life she never chose. Her father, Vernon Winfrey, was a soldier stationed elsewhere, unaware for months that he even had a daughter. According to the source, even Oprah's name was a mistake. Her mother intended to name her Orpah after a biblical figure, but the midwife misspelled it on the birth certificate. Even her identity began with an error no one bothered to correct. For the first 6 years of her life, Oprah lived with her grandmother, Hattie Mae. On a farm so poor she wore dresses stitched from potato sacks. Other children mocked her. She had no toys, no books, only chores that left her hands raw and her spirit dimmed. But Hattie Mae did one thing that changed everything. She taught Oprah to read by age 3, using only the Bible as her textbook. In those worn pages, Oprah found her first escape. Words became her refuge. Stories became the only place where she was not hungry, not poor, not unwanted. We're just getting started, and this story gets deeper. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do it right now. We're pushing hard toward 10K subscribers. Subscribe and don't miss what's coming next. At age 6, Hattie Mae could no longer care for her, and Oprah was sent to live with her mother in Milwaukee. Vernita worked long hours as a maid, leaving Oprah in the care of relatives and family friends. That is when the nightmare truly began. According to the provided source, at 9 years old, Oprah was raped by her 19-year-old cousin. It was not a single incident. It happened again and again. Then came an uncle, then a family friend. Each time she was told to stay silent. Each time the shame burrowed deeper. Years later, Oprah confessed with devastating honesty. And these words come directly from the source material. I was sexually abused from the time I was 9 years old until I was 14. I didn't know what was happening to me. I blamed myself. She carried that blame like a stone tied around her neck. Oprah learned early that her pain did not matter, that her voice had no power, that survival meant silence. And then, at 14 years old, she discovered she was pregnant, the result of years of abuse endured in silence. According to the source, the baby was born prematurely and died within weeks. Oprah would later say, directly from the provided material, "I thought that baby's death was my punishment for being a bad girl." In those words lies the cruelest truth of her childhood. A little girl, violated and broken, blaming herself for horrors inflicted by the adults who should have been her protectors. I know this is heavy, but stay with me, because this story transforms completely. And if you're finding value here, please subscribe to this channel. We're working toward 10K. Your support keeps content like this alive. Subscribe now. Clapperboard. Vernon Winfrey, strict, demanding, and unyielding, gave Oprah something she had never had before: structure, rules, and expectations. He required her to read books every week and write reports. Every Sunday she recited scriptures in church. It was harsh, but paradoxically, it became the lifeline she needed. At school, her English teacher, Jeannie Wright, pulled her aside one day and said, according to the source, "You have a voice people need to hear. Don't waste it." Those words planted a seed that would grow into a forest. In 1970, at just 16 years old, Oprah won a public speaking contest sponsored by local black radio station, WVOL. The prize was a scholarship, but more importantly, it was the microphone, the ability to speak and be heard. At 19, she landed a job at WTVF television in Nashville as a weekend news anchor, becoming the youngest person and the first black woman to anchor the news in that city. But Oprah struggled with the detached objectivity the job demanded. When covering tragedies, she cried on air. Producers scolded her repeatedly, but she couldn't help it. Other people's pain was her pain. In 1976, she moved to WJZ television in Baltimore, and Baltimore broke her. According to the source, the news director thought she was too emotional and too unpolished. They sent her to a salon for a perm that went disastrously wrong, leaving her nearly bald and humiliated. She was demoted to morning talk segments, a role the station saw as lesser. Oprah cried in bathroom stalls, questioning whether she had any future in television at all. But that demotion was a redirection. Because in the mornings, hosting People Are Talking, something unexpected happened. Oprah stopped reading someone else's words. She started speaking from her heart, and audiences loved her. In 1984, WLS Television in Chicago called. They needed someone to rescue their dying morning show, AM Chicago. It was dead last in the ratings. Oprah accepted. Within 1 month, the show tied Phil Donahue in the ratings. Within 3 months, it surpassed him entirely. By September 1986, the Oprah Winfrey Show debuted nationwide in 138 markets across America. Within months, it was the #1 talk show in America, a position it held for the next 23 years. But Oprah wasn't just a host. According to the source, in 1986, she founded Harpo Productions. Oprah spelled backward and became the owner of her show. No woman, and certainly no black woman, had ever owned her production company on this scale. She later explained directly from the source, "I saw what happened to people who didn't own their work. They built empires for other people and ended up with nothing. I refused to let that be my story." By 2003, Forbes named her the first black female billionaire in the world. But power, as Oprah would learn, does not heal loneliness. According to the source, behind the cameras the schedule was merciless. 5 shows a week, 39 weeks a year, for 25 consecutive years. Over 4,500 episodes. She admitted from the source, "I became everyone's therapist, but I didn't have one for myself. I carried their pain home with me every single night." In 1986, she met Stedman Graham at a charity event. In 1992, he proposed. Oprah said yes, but the wedding never happened. She later admitted in the source material, "I realized I didn't actually want to be married. I wanted the wedding, but not the marriage." Stedman remained unmarried, patient, steady, for over 30 years. Yet Oprah confessed, "I've spent most of my life alone." In 2011, after 25 years of dominance, Oprah ended her show to launch OWN, the Oprah Winfrey Network. It was supposed to be the crowning achievement of her empire. Instead, according to the source, estimated losses reached $330 million in the first year alone. For the first time in decades, Oprah was failing publicly. She confessed directly from the provided material, "There were nights I couldn't sleep. I would lie awake thinking, I've made a terrible mistake. I've destroyed everything." But she did not quit. She moved to Los Angeles, rebuilt the network from the ground up, and changed the programming strategy entirely. The breakthrough came in 2013 with The Haves and the Have-Nots, a Tyler Perry drama that became a surprise hit. By 2017, OWN was finally profitable. By 2020, Discovery bought out her remaining stake for over $70 million. According to the source, Oprah later admitted, "OWN almost broke me. I lost more money than I'd ever lost. For the first time in my life, I wondered if I was done." The failure taught her something success never had: humility. At 70 years old, Oprah Winfrey owns multiple estates, including a $50 million mansion in Montecito, California. Her net worth hovers around $2.5 billion. But according to the source, wealth has not brought the peace she once thought it would. She has donated more than $400 million to charitable causes. The Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa opened in 2007 with a personal investment of over $40 million, remains her proudest achievement. She calls those girls "my daughters," and according to the source, they are the children she never had. Yet even surrounded by all of this, she confessed, directly from the provided material, "I have everything I thought I wanted, but some nights I still feel like that little girl in Mississippi, wondering if anyone really sees me." That is the truest sentence in this entire story. Oprah Winfrey conquered the world. But some battles, she reminds us, are fought in silence. And some victories are measured not in billions, but in the quiet courage to wake up and try again. If Oprah's story moved you, please subscribe to this channel right now. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe, because every legend has layers the world never sees. And we are here to uncover them. We need you to help us reach 10K. Subscribe now.